So why would they come and ask it in our own time? If you don't get it, Otilo is gone. I'm like, this is massive. This is actually very good. I can't start writing my first paper from the clinic. What's going on? If my seniors have done it, who am I not to do it? Oh, walk in silence. Don't share your journey. Don't be asking for something little. Don't you know who your father is? Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Ngozichi here. If you're new to the channel, you are highly welcome. Do well to join the community by subscribing. So I'm super excited to be filming this video today because it's been a while I did a sit down video, a proper sit down video. So in today's video, not to waste your time, I'm just going to be talking to you guys about how my Nigerian law school was, basically my experience at the Nigerian law school, what I think you should know as someone who's in the Nigerian law school or someone who's planning to go to the Nigerian law school. I'm just sharing some tips with you guys. So I'm with my phone because I wrote down some of the points or some things I want to say. So I don't miss out on anything. I don't miss out on any story. Like you all know, our result is out. Our result came out on the 17th of April 2026. It was a night to my sister's wedding. I was actually tense. I was actually nervous to check my results. You know, when you've been waiting for something for the longest while, and now that it's finally here, you're like, are you sure you want to do this thing? Are you sure you want to check it? Are you sure you want to? I was so anxious. I kept on telling people that whenever I hear that result is coming out, the way my heart used to skip. Honestly, I did not feel like that during my exam period, doing bar finance. I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like that throughout my Nigerian law school journey. It was when they said result is coming out in April. I was tensed. I was asking myself what was going on, what was happening, what was going to happen. But anyways, when I finally checked my results, I don't know how to explain how I felt then, in as much as I was I was happy, honestly. I was happy, I was grateful to God. But on the other hand, you know when it's not what you're expecting. You know that feeling of you didn't get what you were expecting exactly, but you don't want to be ungrateful on the other hand. That was just how I felt at that point. But one part of me kept on telling me, not like one part of me, I kept on telling myself that you have to be grateful. In as much as you didn't get what you were aiming for, you have to be grateful for the one you have. A lot of people have different things they want out of Nigerian law school. There are people that don't want first class, there are people that just want to pass and go. And it's okay. When I saw the result, I was really grateful to God. I was happy. I didn't even show you guys all the drama that happened that day because it was a night to my sister's wedding. So the hotel was packed. The My friends were there. Just a lot of persons were there. So I didn't get to show you guys that drama, every single thing that happened because I felt that, oh, maybe there was no need putting it out there. Is it actually my turn to be congratulated? Is it actually my turn to be called to the Nigerian bar? That was just how I was feeling. Even the next day, let me tell you guys, the next day when I got to the church, I didn't know that my mom, my dad, they've already told people. As I was coming, people were like, congratulations, congratulations. I was like, how did you guys know? I didn't know that my parents used between yesterday night, that's 17th night, and 18th morning to give everybody the tea. But I'm actually grateful to God. I am actually very happy that God saw me through the Nigerian law school phase, that God saw me through that journey. And I'm so grateful. Honestly, I'm so grateful to God because there were a lot of things that almost went wrong. There were a lot of things that almost went wrong. At a point, I was even telling God, God, even if it's a pass, give me, let me go. I'm okay with that. But on the other hand, something kept on telling me that why are you asking for a pass? Why are you asking for something little? Don't you know who your father is? Don't you know who God is? Don't you know what he can do? So when we wrote the exam, I'm going to be telling my story just gradually, then I'll get to what I think you should know in the Nigerian law school. As I'm telling my story, I'm also going to infuse that. When we wrote the exam, the first exam was MCQ, and you guys, I felt sick that morning. It was not exam tension because I was not tensed before the exam. I was actually very much okay. I was calm. I was not pressured. I was okay. Everything was just going well. Just for me to have my bath that morning. And the next I started shivering. I started feeling cold. I had to call my sister. I texted my sister. I was like, oh, is this normal? Like, why am I feeling cold? What's going on? What's happening? That was how I did that MCQ, and it was MCQ. You know how MCQ can be? You're trying to read different things because you don't know where exactly the question is coming from. It's MCQ. You don't know. They can pick out a line and decide to ask from that place. They can pick out how many days to do this. And if you don't know it, you don't know it. And that's it. I was not very scared. I just prayed that morning and I knew that God had gone ahead of me. Then I went to the exam hall. Exam was meant to start by 1 p.m. You guys, our exam did not start till around 6 p.m. And in that hall, I was feeling very cold because the ACs were on. I was feeling very cold. I was shivering. I think there was even someone that wrote her exam from the clinic in that same hall. I was asking myself, I can't start writing my first paper from the clinic. What's going on? What's happening? So when we were still waiting for the exam to start, we were still waiting for the question paper to start. Mind you, before the exam, I took paracetamol before coming out. So it kind of held it down a bit. I was not running temperature. I was not having headache. It was just the cold. Then at a point, I started having headache. So when we were just waiting, you guys, nothing was happening. I went out to meet my friends. We were just doing revision. My roommates were just doing revision. Then at a point, I told myself, let me go back to hostel and take another paracetamol because at a point, I was feeling very tired. I was feeling very tired. You know when it feels like you're about to faint or you're about to pass out. When I looked at the questions, I didn't see any complicated question. You know when you see some questions, you're like, oh, maybe like corporate law, you're like, what if they ask from corporate governance? What if they ask from this place? They can decide to pick out a topic and ask on that topic. When I was going through the questions, I was like, is this how God works? Everything felt so familiar. Everything felt so familiar. I was able to know that okay, there was no confusion at any point. Even some questions that felt like they were confusing, there was no confusion at any point. Mind you, before now, I was practicing my MCQ. I was timing myself. And what I usually do is, if you're in the Nigerian Law School, I think this is a tip that you can also work with. What I usually do is, if I'm doing 40 questions, for instance, I can give myself 10 minutes or sometimes 7 minutes to do the 40 questions just to make sure that I am able to finish 100 questions within 60 minutes. So even if I'm doing 100 questions, I don't give myself 60 minutes, I give myself like 40 minutes. If I'm able to finish within that 40 minutes, I know that, okay, my speed is okay. I need to work on maybe accuracy, getting the right answer, because it's one thing to be fast, is another thing to get the answer. If you don't get it, Otilo is gone. So that was what I was doing. Even during my externship, I had to print out a lot of MCQ. You see the MCQs that I had. Anywhere I see MCQ, I'll go and print it out. And thankfully, I did my externship in Aba. So it was easier for me to just print out these things, shade them, write, answer them in that question paper how it was so that I can just be reading through it. It was actually something that helped me so much. I made sure I printed these things out. I was shading it because even when I got to school after the extension, I had to tell my roommates, see what I did though. In case you want criminal litigation, I have it. In case you want corporate law, we were just, sharing it amongst ourselves. That was how it worked for me and it was good. And thank God that our exam started on a Friday. So I had to use Saturday, Sunday to treat myself. Then Monday, because there was no exam on Monday, to treat myself against Tuesday exam. So we wrote our second paper, third paper, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Everything was going well up until the last one, civil litigation. While a lot of persons were complaining about civil litigation, maybe the problem was because maybe I didn't finish my civil litigation answers. I didn't answer every single thing, but I tried my best to attempt the questions, all of them, but I wasn't able to finish everything. But nevertheless, that's still something that I'm grateful to God for. When I finished my exams, I realized that there were certain mistakes I made. You know, when you come back from the hall and when you come out of the hall, and the next thing you're asking yourself, didn't you see this? Why did you make this type of mistake? But somebody told me something. She said, it might be that one you're overthinking. That one you think maybe it's 5 marks. Maybe they said list something or do something. Maybe you think that it's 5 marks. It might be that that particular question we have half mark, or we have 1 mark, or we have 2.5 marks. So you're not the examiner, you are not the markers, you are not Nigerian Law School, you are not Council of Legal Education. You don't know the particular marks that will be allocated to this particular question. It could be that question that you're thinking that, oh, this is just small. That's the one that will have more marks. So I was like, okay, that actually makes sense. That comforted me a bit, and that was it. Now, when I talk about my experience in law school, when I hear people talk about their experience in law school, there are people that say, oh, if the person did not make a first class, I am not listening to the person. I feel that that's actually very wrong, because people have their different experiences. People have different parts of Nigerian law school that they experience. There are people that made mistakes and you will learn from their mistakes. There are people that didn't make mistakes, but you still get one or two things from them. So before I went to the Nigerian Law School, I joined a webinar. And in that webinar, I can't remember the name of the speaker, but the speaker said, Bar finance is not almighty. God is. When people say almighty bar finance, almighty this, you're thinking, bar finance is something that I can't overcome. But I kept telling myself, if my seniors have done it, who am I not to do it? Yes, I know that the journey or that space alone can be mentally draining. It can be tasking, because you're going to class every single day. You have to read every single day. You have to make notes. If you're making notes, you have to study every single day. Well, maybe not every single day, but most of the days. But I realize how it is doing the same routine over and over again. It can get boring for some people. It can get overwhelming for some people, and all those things. So one thing I always tell people is your mindset matters. How you see yourself matters. Always have a positive mindset. I kept on telling myself, one of the things I kept on declaring over myself was that I had a sound mind. Because in the Nigerian law school, it's very easy for you to lose your mind. It's very, very easy for you to lose your mind. It's very easy for you to feel pressured. It's very easy for things to get to you. So I kept on telling myself, I have a sound mind. I kept on declaring over my friends that they have a sound mind, because you think it's just about you. When somebody in your circle is going through something, you might not know how it will affect you. So I kept on declaring over myself, over my friends, even in their different campuses, that we have a sound mind. Then one thing I'll tell you about the Nigerian law school is, don't think you can do the Nigerian law school on your own. You cannot. My dear, pray. My dear, hold God tight, because it is beyond what you can see. I know you might be thinking that, oh, I'm smart enough, I'm intelligent enough, I am able to navigate this phase. Although that there are people, when they say there are principles in life, that if you add one to one, you're going to get two. If you read your book, if you do the necessary things, you get a good grade. But on the other hand, in between those necessary things you're doing, there are certain things that might play out that is beyond your physical strength, honestly speaking. Because you might think that you know the answers, you're able to answer everything, but you might not know that you've answered section B in section A booklet and answered section A in section B booklet. When you come out, you feel that, oh, you have written very well, you've done this, you've done that. But at the end of the day, you realize that you made a very big mistake. Another thing I need to tell you about the Nigerian law school is, it's not just about reading, it's not just about studying, because you can study, but you're not studying right. You can study and you're stressing your brain. You can study, but you're filling your brain with the wrong thing. Read smart in the Nigerian law school. And I think I learnt this one later on. I think it was during my externship that I learnt how to read smart. I think it was during that period. Before then, because me, I read by making notes. After class, I'll come back to the hostel, I'll rest a bit, go for group meeting. From there, I'll go to the library, I'll make my notes. I keep on making my notes, because that's how I read. I know that I understand something that is in my writing better than reading from a handout. So read smart. Let me tell you guys a story. One of the days doing our portfolio assessment, so we were just outside, just waiting, just chilling. People were discussing. Then I asked somebody something, and the person answered the question. And the next thing the person started saying, section this, ACJL Lagos, section this, ACJL Kano, section this, ACJA. I was like, that's beautiful. In as much as that's beautiful, that's, you know, wowing. If there's something like that, that's actually beautiful. But in the long run, you see that reading like that is actually going to task your brain. Maybe in the exam, You were asked a question and the scenario they used is Lagos, and you forgot the section for Lagos, and maybe you went and cited Abuja or Kano. You're not going to get the mark for that citation. So instead of stressing yourself trying to learn all this ACJA, why not pick something that is uniform, something that's going to work for all the jurisdictions? Now, if you're talking about arrest, you know that there's police act. If you're talking about bail, all those things, you know that there's constitution. Now, instead of you stressing yourself going to learn ACJA, ACJL, ACJ, this one, that one, why don't you pick police act or even self pick a case, because it's still the same mark that they're going to give for that citation. Instead of learning all those things, make use of police act. It's still the same thing. That's any section of police act is even going to be easier for you than learning all those sections of ACJA, ACJ, all those things. It's going to be easier for you. So learn to read smart. Another thing that we're talking about is practice your drafts. That was one of the things that helped me in the Nigerian Law School. I would say that to an extent, I knew almost all the drafts in the Nigerian Law School, like almost all the drafts that were necessary, not unnecessary ones. So almost all the drafts that were necessary. That was because I kept on practicing it. One of our lecturers in the hall, like in the hall during class, she will tell us this, draft it in that particular place. She's telling to draft something you have never drafted before. I'll still find my paper, draft it, and when she's doing the correction, I'm trying to correct it. If maybe she sees maybe and as she's telling you to draft, she's telling you come and show her. There are certain people that will come and show her, and I realize that oh, she said that this person got it. After class, I'm going to meet that person. Let me see your draft, please. Let me snap your draft. Let me know what you did. I will snap the draft and have a copy of it. Then when I go back to the hostel, I will practice that draft. At a point, I started cramming my drafts. I didn't just write it. I started cramming it. I was like, oh, this is how to start. This is how to start it. This is how to continue. This is how to end. I started cramming it. And one thing I'm so grateful to God for is the gift of good friends in the Nigerian Law School and the gift of good roommates. I am honestly so grateful for my roommates because these people made Nigerian Law School easy for me. At a point, there were just certain things they'll come up with, even certain mnemonics they'll come up with. I'm like, this is massive. Oh, this is actually very good. Oh, this is actually very nice. How I learned some clauses in property law, like rent review clause, all those things, was because every day we'll tell ourselves, oh yeah, recite it, say it again. The next day, we'll still ask ourselves, can you remember what you said yesterday? Oh yeah, repeat it. I kept on asking. They kept on asking, and that was how it was able to stick. So if you have people, have the right circle around you, honestly, you're going to be grateful for it when you're out of that place. Have the right circle of friends, have the right circle of reading mates, anything at all it is. People that you know that they are going to push you to be better. People that you know that at the end of the day, you're not just wasting your time with them. You're actually learning something. And I'm so grateful to God for my roommates. Then during my externship, how I was able to juggle everything, still was able to go to court. Happy that I did my externship here because it gave me enough time to study. It gave me enough time to cover up. It gave me enough time to read because I'm this type of person that loves to make notes. I showed you guys in my last video the notes that I made from the Nigerian Law School. And that's why I always tell people do what you know works for you. I don't come to the Nigerian Law School and say, oh, because people are reading from handouts, let me go and read from handouts without writing. I knew that at the end of the day, it's going to be fatal for me. So do what you know works for you. So I love making notes because it even helps me to add extra things, to write it in my own words. It helps me to remember things faster. There was this particular question in civil litigation. There was this affidavit they told us to draft in exam. And while people were complaining about that affidavits that they told us to draft, I was actually very grateful because in my notes, I can remember writing, if they ask you to draft an affidavit on this is what it should contain. Number one, this. Make sure you write it. I can still remember how I wrote it in my notes. If I didn't make my notes, maybe I would have overlooked that part of it. I would have said, oh, maybe it's not necessary. Besides, Nigerian law school has never asked this type of question before. So why would they come and ask it in our own time? But thank God I was able to make my notes and was able to cover up. Now, how was I able to make those detailed notes? Let me give you guys a tip. Every time when I come back from class, I try my best to make my notes on that topic that we learned that day. But at a point, I fell sick in Nigerian law school. I got tired. It's not easy to be doing the same thing every single day. I told myself that I was going to complete every single thing, and I did. Some days I stay up 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours trying to finish up. Then it was then that I knew that I was actually petting myself in the Nigerian Law School, because at a point, if I get tired, I'll go and relax, I'll go and sleep. But when I knew that I had to cover up, I didn't sleep, I didn't get tired. I got tired, yes, but I told myself that I'm going to see to the end. So it made me know that, okay, when we went back for the second extension, when we went back after the first extension, I was like, oh, I can actually do this. I can actually do 30 pages in a day. I can actually do 35 pages in a day. I was just lagging behind. You know, when people were complaining that we had our extension split into two, I was actually grateful to God for that, because it also helped me cover up. So what I'm just saying is, do what you know works for you. Don't say because somebody is doing 10 hours, you also can do 10 hours, when in reality you can only do 3 hours, because there are people that take time before they understand. There are people that understand 5 pages within an hour. And that's actually very beautiful. We have our different capacities. We have different things that we can handle. So just know the one you can handle. Just know what you can do. Just know your capacity and work with that. So basically, this is some of my experience. Or just know that I'm grateful to God for the journey so far. I can't believe that I'm the one actually preparing for my call to bar. I can't believe that it's my turn to be called to the largest bar in Africa. And I'm so grateful to you all for sticking with me throughout my Nigerian law school. You know, even the fact that I was creating content, at a point, I kept on getting some feedbacks like, oh, work in silence, don't share your journey, stop posting, all those things. I kept on getting those messages. At a point, I was like, are you sure I should not just stop all these things? But on the other hand, I was like, these things are actually part of my success story. This is actually ways that I can show people that, oh, God can actually help someone. These videos are just me saying that, okay, this just documenting, knowing how it was at that particular phase. And also these videos serve as a guide to a whole lot of persons that are in the Nigerian law school, that are coming to the Nigerian law school. So I kept on posting, although at a point I had to stop, I had to reduce the way I posted, but actually God helped me, and I am so grateful to God for that. If you have further questions about the Nigerian Law School, you can ask me in the comments and I will answer. Thank you so much for watching my video to this point. If you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe and join this amazing family. I honestly don't know where the next phase of my life or how the next phase is going to play out, but I know that God is in control. So till then, stay happy, stay blessed. I love you guys. Bye.